Hey everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today is going to be a fun one. I'm going to be shooting some 357 Magnum lever action rifles and doing a little comparison here. I've got this Rossi Model 92 in 357. It's the carbine that's got the shorter 16-inch barrel. Recent purchase. I haven't even shot this yet, so this is the first time out with it. I have this big boy steel here. It's the 6.5-inch big boy steel. It's about 6.5 pounds. It's got fully adjustable semi-buckhorn sights. Holds 7 rounds. The 20-inch barrel versions hold, I think they hold 10 rounds. But I wanted the carbine. I wanted the shorter one. And so I gave up a little bit of magazine capacity, but I'm fine with that. And then this one here is a friend of mine's who lent it to me. It's the carbine version, but the octagon barrel, which it's much thicker. I don't know if you can see here, but the standard barrel, you know, it's relatively big, but look at the size of this octagon barrel. It is much thicker, and it makes it a heavier rifle. So it's 7.5 pounds versus the 6.5 pounds, basically, so a pound heavier. Now this Rossi is a 16-inch barrel, so the Henrys are 16.5, the Rossi's a 16. And just like the Henry, the 20-inch barrel version of this holds 10 rounds versus the 8 rounds that this one holds. However, if you're looking at weight, the Rossi is much lighter. This is a 5.8 pounds for the Rossi compared to 6.6 pounds, or for the octagon barrel, 7.5 pounds. So if you're looking at weight, the Rossi is definitely the way to go, but the Henrys have a lot to be said for them. And I'm going to go through some of the differences. One of the big ones being how they cycle their actions, how they eject. There's a few different things there, so let's go ahead, and this test is mainly going to be seeing how they respond to different types of ammunition. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be shooting different types of ammunition through all 3 of these rifles. I wanted to see how well the Rossi cycles and, of course, the Henry cycle different weights of 357 Magnum and 38 Special. So I tried to get heavy 357 Magnum, and this American Eagle is 158 grain jacketed soft point, and then the Winchester is 110 grain jacketed hollow point. So a heavy and a light 357 to see if that has any issues in cycling and shooting. And then the same with the 38 Special. This is 158 grain lead round nose, and then this one here is 130 grain full metal jacket. So we'll see how these do. This Henry here I've had for a while. This is one of the pre-loading gates, big boy steels. It's got the big loop, as you can see here, and I put some paracord on it. I used to wrap a lot of my levers with leather, and then I read somewhere that if you wrap them with leather, it was going to eventually cause the metal to start to rust because the leather is cured with a bunch of chemicals. So I went and cut the leather wraps I did on all my rifles, and guess what? Everything was fine. So I should have left the leather on there, but this one I decided to just rewrap in paracord. It's a soft throw. It's not very stiff, but I guess if you have sensitive hands, or if you just want something a little more to grip onto, this wrapping can make it easier to work the lever. But this is the pre-side gate loading version, so you had to load it through the tubular magazine up here, which has its pros and cons. When I first got this rifle, because this is one of the first ones when they came out. In fact, the serial number on it is triple digits, so this was probably very soon off the production line. And when I shot it, it did have a couple of small issues. It wasn't ejecting very well. It would eject, but I would have to really throw the lever with a lot of vigor to get the casing to fall out, or else I'd have to just kind of open it up and tip the rifle to let the casing fall out. And another issue was it wasn't feeding very well. If I didn't have the rifle perfectly vertical, or if I didn't cycle the lever smoothly, it would start jamming up. And I sent it into Henry, and they fixed it. They did a great job with it. Now it feeds without a problem and ejects really well. And I'm going to cut them a little slack. I mean, this was very new production for a new model when it came out, so sometimes those will have a little bit of bugs. This one my buddy bought. It's used, but it's the case hardened version. It's really pretty. It does have the side loading gate and the octagonal barrel. Now, whoever had this prior to him took off the standard buckhorn sights and put these True Glow fiber optic sights. And really are kind of nice. I don't think they look good on the rifle, but they're probably going to make it a lot easier to see, but whoever also had it ended up cutting some of the stock down. I guess it was, they tried to turn it into a youth rifle, or potentially maybe it was for somebody who was a little shorter, so they cut down the length of pull, and I think they cut maybe an inch, maybe more off of this stock. It'll be fine for today. He's going to try to replace the stock to get it back to the original length, but all in all, really the short length of pull isn't really a problem, not for me. And for many circumstances, if you want a truck gun or something you're going to be pulling out of the ATV, having a shorter length of pull might actually be good. The other cool thing about these Henrys is both have the big loop. I like the big loop, especially in the winter if you're wearing gloves. You can always replace that on the Rossis. There's a lot of aftermarket stuff for the Rossis. In fact, for this one, I tend to put a saddle ring on it. I'm going to keep the standard loop for now because I kind of like the standard loop on these Model 92s. And obviously, like the originals, it does have a side loading gate. And I haven't done anything to this rifle, so it's all original out of the box. I've heard a lot that this can be a very, very stiff in the beginning. Some people switch out the springs and the follower. I may end up doing that, but out of the box, I wanted to see how it shot and how it cycled. And then later on, I can make some improvements. One thing I did get was this really nice saddle scabbard for it. Growing up, I used to have a good one that I'd stick on my saddle when I'd go riding a bit. But after I passed my 40s, after getting bucked off horses a few times, I decided that I preferred ATVs to horses. I don't ride horses as much as I used to, but this is still a great saddle scabbard. This one's got a shoulder strap on it. And even if you don't want to strap it to a horse and a saddle, you can always strap it to your ATV, so it works just as well. And obviously, it's got the cool cowboy look. So let's go ahead and load up some rounds, see how they cycle, see how they shoot, and see how stiff it is to get some rounds into this Rossi. Okay, the wind's starting to pick up, so hopefully this won't start interfering too much with my audio. If it does, I can always do voiceover. We're going to start with the 92 just because it is new and I'd like to put some rounds through it. I'm kind of itching to shoot it. And we're going to start with the 38 Special. So let's see how it loads here. Seems to be loading fine. I'm not having any issues with it. I'm just going to put 5 in. 3. 4, and maybe a little stiff. I'm sure that would work its way down, but yeah, not a problem loading at least. So let's go out there and fire these rounds at some steel. Okay, here we go, the Rossi 92, starting with the Winchester 38 Special. So this is how it cycles through the top. Cycled fine. I never shot this yet, so I don't know if the sights are on, but I'm shooting at a big piece of steel, so I assume I'll be able to hit it. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Cycling and ejecting fine. And as you see, it ejects up. No problem. So that worked great. And the 38 Special shot really smooth out of here. Ejecting up is cool. It is very traditional. If you have a big cowboy hat, you can start collecting shell casings on the top of your hat. So let's go back and try the other 38 Special. Okay, so the 92 did fine with the 130 grain full metal jacket. So let us try the 158 grain lead round nose. I have an older box here that's got a few left, so let's open that one first. And let's see if there are any issues. You know, sometimes projectiles can be a little longer, a little shorter, and that can cause feeding problems for some lever actions. Once again, it seems to be loading fine. A lot of people say you have to use the second round to kind of push in the first round. And maybe, I mean, it kind of depends on how delicate your hands are. Well, and I say that, now this one's having a little issue going in. So let me see if I can push it in with another round. Yeah, there you go. I may end up changing the spring out just to make it a little bit softer, but it's not terrible, and certainly something that I'm sure with time would work its way out a little bit. How many did I load in? Was that 4? Is this going to be 5? Should have been counting. Oh, and it feels like it's going to start drizzling, so I need to speed this up. Okay, we got, I think, 5 rounds of 158 grain 38 Special lead round nose. Let's go shoot at the target. Okay, let's see how it cycles these rounds. Yep, cycled without a problem. Let's see how it ejects. No problem, straight up, a lot of force. Oh, now if I could just shoot steady and hit my target. There we go. Up. Didn't pull it back enough, didn't cycle that one. Now it cycled fine. That may have been on me for not working the action the whole way. And there you go. Worked those just fine. And now let's try some 357 through the Rossi. This is going to be the lighter 357 Magnum, 110 grain. Let's see if there are any issues in getting it through the loading gate. Nope, seems to be fine. I say that, nope, there we go. A little stiff, but not bad. And that's 5. Boom. Let's go shoot them. Let's see how it loads these 357s. No problem. Seems to be loading fine. And I bet this is going to be a lot louder. There you go. Cycles fine. Ejects fine. Oh, this is fun. Woo! 357 really is a lot of fun out of a rifle. Much more potent cartridge too. You'd be surprised what 357 can do when you're shooting it out of a carbine or a rifle instead of a revolver. But let's go shoot the heavier rounds now and see how they work. Okay, so now we're going to try the 357 158 grain jacketed soft point American Eagle. I like this ammo. I've actually used it a lot with a few of my 357 Magnum revolvers. Tends to like it, so let's see how this does. Loading's no problem. Yeah, it's getting a little easier now since these were the first rounds out of this thing. Oh, I say that once again, seems to be that one's sticking a little bit. Well, that's fine. I may just have to put a new follower in there, and I may replace the spring. But 5 rounds in, no problem. Let's go shoot them up. So let's see how these 158 grain cycle. Load without a problem. Woo! That's got some power. Oh yeah. Ejecting everything fine, cycling well. Oof. Oh yeah, that is a lot of fun. So the 92 did great. Right out of the box, fed okay, cycled everything well. Beautiful little rifle. And I mean, I have a soft spot for these Winchester 92 or 1892 lookalikes. I have a 30-30 like it. My dad used to have the Browning 92 and 357 Magnum a long time ago. Unfortunately, that gun is now gone. So this is what I basically got to replace it. And if you want some cowboy action looking lever action, this is really the way to go. And like I said, you get yourself a nice scabbard for it, and you can look very, very cowboy-like. So remind me of my days of dehorning cattle and having a good time with a branding iron. So did very well, very happy with the Rossi. Now, one big difference is if you want to put a scope on these, and gasp, I know a lot of people say you'd never put scopes on lever actions, but you know what? That's going to happen time to time. And although you can do that with a Rossi, the difficulty is that it ejects to the top. So although there are some contraptions you can put on there to put a scope on it, I think the Rossi is best kept scopeless. And if you want a nice rifle that you can just carry around, this is the way to go. Now, here is where the Henry has some benefits. The Henry, let me put this away, is a side ejector, a lot like many of the different Marlin models. So when you cycle a Henry, it ejects to the side. And Henrys, at least most of the big boys, come pre-tapped right here, so you can put a scope mount on it. So if scoping is the way that you're really looking, so if you're getting a 30-30 or some other hunting round that you're going to be taking around, and you want to put a scope, even if it's just a low magnification to give you slightly better shots at deer or hogs. The Henry really has the Rossi beat there in the fact that it's just going to be easier to get a scope on there pretty quickly. Also, the Henry has two ways of loading. You can load it through the side gate, or you could load it through the magazine tube here, just like 22s. Now, one of the nice things about that is that if you need to unload the rifle quickly, the Rossi, the only way you can do that is cycling cycling out every round by working the action. With the Henry, you can actually just take out the magazine tube and pour the rounds out. So that's a way to quickly unload one of these Henrys, because it does have the magazine tube, or I should say the ability to remove the magazine tube. Also, the Henrys come with studs ready for a shoulder strap. So as you see on mine here, it's got this really nice shoulder strap. I forget where I got this. What is this? It says Brass Stacker. So this was, that's right, that's the name of the company. You can put some extra rounds in here. It's got a little bandolier. And if you're carrying this around hiking, this actually is really, really nice. So I will give Henry that the studs make it easy to carry. And this one, like I said, does not have the side loading gate, but I don't really mind, because I'm going to top it off in the magazine up here anyway. I'm not going to be doing any quick reloads with it. But if you want to feel like a cowboy action type shooter, then yeah, you definitely want to get one of the newer ones with a side loading gate. So it is starting to drizzle a little more, so I'm not going to shoot this one. I'm just going to shoot one Henry, my friend's, because he wanted to see how well it did. So let's go ahead and start it up, and we'll start with the lightest weight of 38 Special, which I believe was this one right here, the 130 grain full metal jacket. So let's get 5 rounds in. Let's see how it feels. You know, the loading gate feels about the same as the Rossi. I'm not going to say this one's necessarily better. It does have sort of a half moon cutout here that helps you get the last little part in. Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's a ton easier, but it's about the same. Side loading gate, at least in my opinion, is about the same on both of them. Maybe slightly stiffer on the Rossi, but that could certainly be fixed by switching out the follower and or the spring. So let's go fire these 38 Specials and see how it does. Okay, so here we are. Now, I don't know if my buddy's ever shot this. I don't think he has. So I don't know if these sights are aimed or not. I'm here at probably about 25 yards, maybe a little bit more. But those are pretty big steel targets I have, so this shouldn't be a problem. But let's see how it cycles. No problem, cycled well. Wow, with, you know, the weight of this Henry, there we go. And especially this octagon barrel, which is much, much heavier. Shooting this 38 Special feels like shooting 22. It has no recoil. That's nice. I mean, it wouldn't be nice to carry around all day, but as far as recoil, wow, this heavy barrel really eats up the recoil. So that's something to be said for the Henrys, of recoil is an issue. Although it's going to be a heavier rifle to carry around, it's that weight really does eat up some of that recoil. So let's go ahead and try the heavier 38 Special. Okay, so we're going to do the 158 grain lead round nose. See how that does out of this Henry big boy with the case hardening. The case hardening is really, really pretty. I mean, it is a beautiful rifle. I don't know if I would particularly pick the octagon barrels. It's a lot of weight. It is a lot of weight. But they are beautiful, and if you like that look, it's certainly a aesthetically pleasing rifle. But it's just a little too much weight for my liking. But let's go see how it does with this 158 grain. Okie doke. So the 158 grain 38 Special lead round nose. Yeah, still doesn't kick at all. Let's see how this thing ejects. See, as you can see there, it doesn't eject it very far, but it does eject it out. I think when I sent mine in, they must have put a heavier spring on the extractor, because it ejects a lot further than that. A little more like that. There we go. 5 rounds, no problems, fed great. Let's move on to the 357. Okay, we'll start with the lighter 357, the 110 grain. But it's a jacketed hollow point. Let's go ahead and close the action. Yes, feeding fine. Four and 5 rounds. Okie doke. Loaded well. Let's go shoot them. Okay, the 357. Let's see how much this heavier barrel tames the round. Well, it's shooting low, but it's cycling fine. Oop, that was 5. So ejected them fine, cycled them fine. You can certainly feel that it's different from the 38 Special, but once again, this heavier barrel is really making it tamer. So let's go fire our last set of 357 out of this, the 158 grain. So now we're loading up the 158 grain jacketed soft points. Let's see here. See, even the Henry can be a little sticky getting the rounds in. The more you work the loading gate and the spring, the easier it will get. Okay, let's go shoot them off. And let's see here, how does it load? Loads fine. How does it eject? Ejects fine. Not terribly far, but it's working. Woo! These sights aren't quite on. I think they just shoot a little bit low. But once again, you have to aim your sights or adjust them for whatever particular load you're using. Oop, that was a little low. But a lot of fun. Certainly softer shooting than the Rossi based on the weight. Well, that was a lot of fun. In conclusion, it's tough. They're both wonderful rifles. It's really what you want them for. If you want a lighter one that you can carry in a saddle scabbard, I think the Rossi is the way to go. Obviously, it worked fine with all the different ammunitions we put through it. 38 Special, 357. If you want to potentially scope it, or you want although I mean you can put attachments on this so you can use a sling with this. If you want a sling and weight isn't as much of an issue for you, then the Henry may be the rifle for you. Whether you get this octagon barrel or the much thinner standard barrel. As you can see, I mean look at this. Let me take my GoPro off here so you can see it a little better. I mean, you can see the width difference between that and that. The standard steel has a barrel about the same width as the tubular magazine, where the look at that, the octagon's about twice the width, and you can very much see it when you look at the bore. So I've already double checked that these guns are unloaded, but here you can see, look at the bore and just the amount of steel around the bore on the standard big boy. Look at the amount of steel around the bore on the octagon. Look at that. So if recoil is an issue for you but not weight, then the octagon barrel is certainly the way to go. If you want to mount a scope on it, then once again the Henry is going to be a lot easier to do that. It comes pre-tapped and ready to go. You just got to put a mount on there and mount your scope. And although I didn't get to shoot this guy, to the horror of many, I'm going to do another video on it because I am going to mount a scope on this guy. I'm considering using this more often for maybe helping with the hog problems that we have around here, and for nighttime shooting, and for my aging eyes, and just for getting targets out at a slightly further distance. I'm going to put a relatively low magnification scope on here and see how it does. So once I scope it, I'll take this out to the range and see how it groups, how well it groups with both 38 Special and 357 different weights, because I am curious exactly how accurate this are. So I was considering doing an accuracy test with these guys, but A, it's starting to rain, so I don't really have that much time left. But B, because of the iron sights, it would be a relatively subjective accuracy test. I'd have to have a few people probably put it on paper at a few different distances to really say whether one was more accurate than the other. And the fact of the matter is that I doubt there's going to be significant differences in accuracy. What there will be is that I'm sure that the Rossi and the Henry probably prefer one of these ammos. If you start putting them on paper, it will probably like a heavier weight or a lighter weight. Once you start shooting 10-15 rounds on paper, you'll probably notice that one of the types of ammunition will group better. And if that's important for you, then when you buy one of these guys, if you're able to get your hands on one of these beautiful rifles, then I do recommend going and putting some rounds down range and seeing which particular loading it likes. But as far as function, as far as loading, ejecting, cycling, all of these different weights, all of these different rounds did fine through both of them. So wonderful rifles. A 357 lever action is a must-have, especially if you carry a 357 revolver when you're out on your property or when you're out hunting or having fun. And it just makes you feel like a good old-fashioned cowboy. So as always, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoy these lever actions. A shout out to my buddy for lending me this one that he literally just purchased not long ago. The cut down stock didn't bother me too much. It was noticeable, but the short length of pull wasn't too much of a difference. I think if you can see here, if I line these up, you can tell that, yeah, it's almost at least an inch cut down from this guy, maybe an inch and a half. But he got a replacement stock. He asked me to put it on for him, but I'm not a gunsmith. I think it's just like wood screws that go in, so I may try to do it for him, but I'm just afraid that it needs a little bit of sanding or something for fit and finish. So I may advise him just to take it to a reputable gunsmith so his stock looks really nice once installed. But hope everyone's out there having fun, sending lead down range. I was able to find all of this ammo on the shelves, so ammo is coming back. So I encourage you to go out, do some shooting, have some fun, and I will see you all in the next video.